Hey everyone, it's Suey here. And if you were watching my recent monthly wrap-up TBR for August and September, you saw that I mentioned my idea for a forced phase subject in September. If you are new to this channel and you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about when I say forced phased, this is an idea I had when I started my channel, something that kind of spurred me to start a channel, which I thought would be really fun. I'm not sure it's going over very well, but it is where I come up with an idea or a topic or a course of study for a particular period of time. Then I read some books about it and maybe do some YouTubing, and maybe do some movies, maybe do some podcasts, maybe do whatever research I feel like, and learn something along the way. So the forced phase is that instead of just falling into something naturally, you think of what you're going to study and you push yourself to do it. We did some British monarchy back in the beginning when I was kind of reading Spare and watching Meghan and Harry. And we did some intermittent fasting, diet or anti-diet books. And then for the summer, I've done pretty much nothing, but I said it was going to be my fluffy romance fun books. So I did that in the summer, and now the summer's over-ish. And for September, I'm going to do sourdough because I came home in July from my daughter's with a sourdough starter, and I'm trying to figure out how to use it. It's something I've always wanted to do anyway. It seems very mysterious. There's like a club, and you have to like break your way into it, figure stuff out. I got that book. I don't have it with me right now. I got that book, and it's a cool book, but it still is sort of vague to me on how this all works. So I'm going to maybe watch some YouTube videos, and I don't know what else. If you're familiar with sourdough, you'll be like, whatever, this is boring, maybe. But if you don't know what it is, maybe you're curious. Also, maybe you're like me and you're trying to figure it out. I've noticed that there's a lot of people on YouTube that have already got stuff figured out, but you never see videos of people trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So here's me trying to figure it out. I'm going to take you through what I do every week with my sourdough, and you can tell me if you think I'm doing anything right or if you think I'm like completely messing it up. So enjoy. Here is the one that's been in the fridge for a week. It gets this gross stuff on it. They call it hooch, I think that's how you say it. And some people say pour it off, and some people say stir it up. But I've been stirring it up. Had this out of the fridge for a little bit, getting warm again. So let's stir it up. It smells very, very, very yeasty. And I'm not sure that having that hooch stuff on the top of it every week when I go to do this is what's supposed to happen or not. I got this sourdough starter from my daughter in July, and I don't remember hers looking like that when I saw it. Then what I'm going to do is feed it, and my confusion and the reason that I'm going to be doing this for a forced phase is that I don't understand how you can technically use this stuff for some recipes, but you want to use a live and well-fed starter for your bread. So what I do is I take this and I feed it, and I put some in here and I feed it. So now I've got two going, and then I use one to stick back in the fridge for my starter to keep going, and then I use this one to make the bread with. And nothing that I've been reading about, even in this lovely book that I got from the library, it doesn't explain this very well. I don't understand. They just say, feed your starter, then make bread. Well, you got to put some of the starter back in the fridge so that you have more starter the next week, right? So it doesn't say feed your starter and then take some out and then save some and then feed and then make bread. It just says feed your starter and then make bread. And I'm like, but there's a key ingredient missing here. So if anybody knows how to do sourdough, let me know if I'm doing this right. I don't have a fancy measuring a weight thing, and people that do this correctly, you know, like in the book here, they have a weight thing So, you know, a scale for this. But I don't have a scale, so I just do half a cup of this stuff. You know what? It feels a little runny to me this time, so I really hope it's okay. They say that it's really hard to kill it, but I'm not sure I believe that. I bet you I could kill it easy. So you do a half a cup of the starter, and then a half a cup of water. Half a cup of water. And then a half a cup of flour. And then you stir that up, and that's going to be the stuff that I put back in the fridge. Put this one away for a minute. This is going to be the stuff that I put back in the fridge to have a starter for making more, to keep my starter going, right? Now this stuff is over here is technically called the discard, from what I understand. And you can make all kinds of cool things with discard without feeding it. Just use this gunk right here. Just use this gunk right here, yeah. You can make banana bread and cookies and biscuits and pancakes and blueberry muffins I did last week. But if you want to make bread, you can use discard, but it's better if you get it fed first. So hopefully this guy works. So I've got this one fed now. Yeah, and then I'm going to let it sit. So we'll watch it get bigger. Actually, I don't want to put the lid on all the way right now. So I'm going to put it right here, and we're going to watch it get bigger. And then this one, I'm going to measure and see how much I have. Usually it's about another cup, or a half a cup. Usually I get about a cup of starter every time. I'm going to do the same thing in this one and get it fed also. And then I'm going to use this one for some bread today. I would like to make a double batch. So I don't know if I want more of this stuff. I don't know if that means I should give it more food right now, or if I should still have a half a cup to a half a cup to a half a cup. You know what I'm saying? It's so confusing. Nobody explains these things. They do say that being precise in your measurements, it's my water. They do say that being precise in your measurements is kind of a key thing, which is why they have scales to measure all this stuff. But I hate being precise, so I might have a struggle with that one. You can see that I'm not really worrying about the precise thing, right? Okay, so I'm doing this now because I need to get this going. This needs to grow a little bit, this stuff, before I can make the bread. So I'm getting it going first, and then we'll add it to some bread going here in a little bit when it grows. Hopefully it will grow. Hopefully I haven't killed it by being not precise and by having all that weird stuff. Can you see? There's this is going to be the bread now. The other one's going to be the starter for next week. So I'm going to let it sit, and then we'll come back and check on them in a little bit.
Eventually.
Okay, it's a few hours later, and there's my two jars of stuff. You can see the one on the left was the one I was going to put back in the fridge and save for next week to do more stuff with. The one on the right is growing bigger and stronger and faster and better. But you can see the bubbles in them. That means it's not dead, at least. It means it's alive. Yeah. So I'll let this one sit a little longer. This one can probably sit a little longer too, but I'm impatient and I want to make my bread today. So I'm going to go ahead and make some bread with it. The first time I made this bread recipe, it was not too great. The second time I quite liked it. So I'm going to go ahead and make it again for a third time today, and we'll see if it's going to take. Like if this is it, if this is the one we like or not. Anyway, I will bring you along for the ride. The recipe that I make is just one I got off the internet. So I printed it up here. And I'm hoping to do a double batch. So we'll see if I have enough. So 2/3 a cup for one batch. So I need 1 1/3 of the starter dough for a double batch. So let's see. That's a little bit too much. 1 1/3 of sourdough stuff. 2 2/3 warm water. 3 tablespoons olive oil. 3. Once I get that a little stirred up, then we get the flour and salt. 7 1/3 cups of flour. 4 teaspoons of salt. Stir that all up. And then we're gonna let it raise for like quite a while. And then I'm gonna start pulling it and messing with it like every half hour. And this is a little bit different content than reading and books, but I figured since I'm doing this, I might as well film it and show you why I want to do a sourdough study for my little forced phase this month, because I don't know if I'm doing it right. It says to not mix it up too much in this part, but I'm going to get it looking a little better. It's not beautiful, but they don't want you to stir it up too much yet. And then we're going to cover it up. Gonna let it sit for an hour, and then we'll come back and fold it. You fold it a couple of times, and then every half hour for like the whole rest of the afternoon. And then in the evening, I'll bake it.
2 hours later. Later that same evening.
Well, that's what they look like now. They're gonna sit in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow they bake.
The next day.
Okay, this is what it looks like after sitting in the fridge overnight. They didn't raise a whole lot. I'm gonna bake them now.
Much later.
There it is. I don't know. What do you think? The bread I make usually isn't very pretty, but it tastes pretty good usually. Not sure what the point of showing you my little baking process is like, except to say maybe one, that I have no idea what I'm doing, and thus I need a forced phase to figure it out. And 2, I'm having fun trying to figure it out. Yes. Yeah, I really don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just kind of faking it as I go and hoping that I don't kill that living organism called a sourdough starter. Hopefully I can find some things to see if I'm doing it right, or figure out how to actually truly do it. If you're along with this ride for me, let me know down in the comments, or if you are a seasoned sourdough baker, let me know so that I can learn from you. Until next time, bye.